Yeah.
When you were going ride with Norman and you stopped at that little store on the side of the road and you were tasting their really bad beers.
No, they weren't beers. They were like.
They were pickles. Like
Yeah, they were like all kind of weird soda
what was
pops.
the worst ones? Like they couldn't even like put on because your reaction was too bad.
One was like some flavor combined with pickle juice, and it tasted like fucking smashed assholes. I don't know anybody that goes, oh, fucking load me up with another 12-ounce bottle of that shit. I mean, as a novelty, we were like, dude, taste it. You have to, because there's 36 flavors of just random shit. You know, like blood cherry, and it would stain your. It was just like nasty ass shit. You know, restroom line. You're like, oh. But because we're fucking gamers, we're not quitters, we crush the whole fucking rack.
You knew he didn't like pickles and that was the one you were making.
Oh, it was disgusting. Disgusting. It was like in a tiny little town. It was a funky, I forget the name of the town. Do you remember the name of the town? It was a funky little town though. And it was a cool little shop where you get little trinkets and it was neat. But yeah, that's But you got to, come on, man. You pass up some shit, live sweetened pickle juice, you gotta throw it down the gullet just to give it a twist, right?
Sorry, that's me.
What's that mean?
It just means we're still going.
Let's answer the shit. Bring it up here.
No.
I'll answer that motherfucker.
Already know.
Who is it?
They want to know about the name. I'm like, no, this is pandemic. It's more important.
Damn Skippy, my nippy. Any other questions?
What's your next book?
Raise your hand if you even knew I wrote a book. Fuck, solid. Two
And
people?
when you do a book signing? A book signing.
Well, I wrote a book. And I know what you're thinking. You're like, oh my God, how cute. An actor wrote a book. And I don't blame you. Because I know actors. They're dumb as fuck. But I wrote one. And actually, long story. I know, shocker, long story. He's like, oh, the revelatory nature of him. I moved out to be an actor. That's a lie. I moved out to be a writer. I was doing theater at University of St. Thomas right here, Museum District, and I was studying business with folks on law, and I saw the most beautiful girl I'd ever seen at the time leaving a building every Monday. So I did what any red-blooded Texan does. He drops an English class and signs up for whatever the fuck they teach in that building, right? He ended up being the theater class, which I was like, but fuck it, I'm not a quitter. So I signed up for that shit, fell in love with acting, because for the first time, it was really about acting. In high school, it was about being fucking weird and doing Dungeons and Dragons and shit. It wasn't about acting, it was about wearing capes and eyeliner and shit. I just thought I don't know what that is. But at university, I stuck with it, fell in love with acting, and I started writing. Being an actor wasn't a real probability in my mind. It just seemed a little subjective. Like you go out there and there's a panel of 8 people that decide. I've always been a more objective person. For example, if I wanted to win a gold medal, I would want to be Usain Bolt and not Greg Louganis. You know, I don't want a team of people going, well, I think it was an 8.7. Oh, I think it was an 8.9. No, motherfucker, you either break the tape first or you don't. You know what I mean? So I moved out to LA. I wrote a piece of children's theater. And I moved out there, waited table, saved my money, and produced it. And lo and behold, then an agent said, oh my God, I should submit you on some commercial. I'm like, what the hell? If it supplements my income, sure, give it a shot. Got a string of those. And she goes, let me submit you on some TV. Yeah, if it supplements it even more, cool. Next thing I know, I was on a plane to London to go do Young Indiana Jones. So writing kind of took a back seat. But I continued to write for periodicals whenever people would ask me. And I wrote a piece at the request of Jane Pratt. She was the editor of Jane magazine, if you remember that magazine. She read a piece I wrote in details, and she said, I'd love for you to write for my magazine. I had no idea what could possibly lend to a chick's magazine. But I said, you know, oddly enough, first girl I ever fell in love with, her name was Jane. I'll write that story. I've always wanted to write it as a novel, but I'll write it as a short story for your magazine. Wrote it, a bunch of people came out of the woodwork trying to get the rights to it, and I thought, oh my God, very flattering, you know. So then years ago, I took a couple years off and I wrote it as a novel. I subsequently, right after it came out, I wrote an intersecting storyline if you read the book, it's called The Boudin Heirloom. So that should make sense if you read the first book. I don't know if I'm gonna release it though, and that's not to be weird or anything. But hey, I wanna give Jane a little time to breathe because it's kind of been an odd word of mouth thing. And I've been approached to turn it into a film, and so I kind of want to let that not exhaust itself, but I just want to let it resonate for a minute. But the through line about my granddaddy, which is arguably my favorite part, that's the Boudin Heirloom. And it is a little close to my heart. Odd, if that is believable, a little bit closer than Jane too. But maybe someday I'll stick it out there. But I appreciate the question because I appreciate the fact that you read my book.
If it made a movie out of it, would you play your dad or your granddad? Would you be willing to play him?
I don't think either one, to be honest. And I don't know the answer to that. Obviously, my granddad was one of the most important people in my life. And that's an understatement. So was my dad, I always make a joke. I say, I wasn't raised, we never had money growing up. But I was the Bill Gates of families. I mean, my mom and dad were at every sporting event. My mama, my granddaddy, I don't have a memory without them, So whenever I say I grew up with no money, we always had hot and cold running water and shit like that. But, my first bicycle, as you know, which is in the book, it's, you could go to the fire station and they would collect stolen bikes. And if you wrote the serial number down and nobody claimed it in 90 days, you could have that bike. So that's where my first bike came from. My dad got that frame and then he rebuilt it, spray painted it in British Racing green. And still to this day, one of the best gifts I've ever received in my life. But big part is family. And growing up right here, like that first bike was given to me in Sharpstown, which is 10 minutes away. Yes, ma'am.
What was it like working with Trace Adkins?
His voice. Come on, I want a voice like that. My God. He's like 7 foot and change. A super cool dude. Now you might think, well, yeah, you probably say that about. No, I don't. I don't say that about everybody. Now, if people were buttholes, I may not tell you they're buttholes, but I won't tell you they're super cool people. Trace is a super cool dude. Super cool. One of the best. Yes, ma'am.